Hi, this is K-Dub.
And this is Ace, and today we're making a video for you guys of the most common mistakes that we made when we first started Puzzle and Dragons. So these things kind of set us back a little bit. Obviously probably wasted a bit of time here.
Yeah.
So
no one really told us.
Yeah, we were just playing and we didn't really know what we were doing. So we wanted to make this video just for you guys. We're going to talk about 5 of the common mistakes that we feel like we made. Hopefully just to help you guys out so you don't make the same mistakes.
This is number 1.
That's going to be not knowing how to use friends. And I don't know about you, K-Dub, but when I first started playing and I played a dungeon and it asked me at the end, do you want to add this guy as a friend? I was like, no, I don't know him. I just like, do we need to? Yeah. I have a couple friends who play, so I guess I'll just add them.
Yeah.
And but in reality, really, it doesn't matter, if you know that person or not. You can just
see him.
Yeah, you don't talk at all really through Puzzle and Dragons, and really having other powerful monsters as your friend is really helpful in going through the dungeons, and their leader skills won't actually be active if they're not your friend.
You can't use them then. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of leader skills for monsters, can help your team out in various ways. The most common is usually like multipliers, for example. If say your leader has times attack for some sort of maybe fire, and so does your friend, those will add together. But if he's not your friend, his leader skill actually won't be active. So adding friends is good, and
you should also always have like close to max friends.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having maximum amount of friends, which is 50. And also just kind of keeping in mind what friends would actually be useful for you. Once you figured out how to add friends, you can start to be selective. Like, hey, I know that this monster is really good for my team, so I'm going to add a bunch of the same, a bunch of friends who have that same monster.
Once you like stick with one leader, or like start sticking with one leader, then you would start knowing which friends to add.
Yeah, so you'll eventually learn who's going to be a good friend for you and who's not. But at the beginning, really just add as many friends as you can, and then you can delete and add more friends after that.
So real life,
just like real life, no new friends is what we thought at first, but hey, they actually are pretty useful. So that was that mistake.
Number 2,
rolling at the wrong time. So yeah, for this, I would say the most common thing is the Palag machine. When I first started, I was just like, oh, I've got all these Palag machine rolls. I'm just gonna roll and roll and roll and get new monsters, and it's really cool. But actually,
all the Palag machine monsters are crappy.
Yeah, the Palag machine monsters suck for the most part, and secondly, you want to make sure that when you're rolling with the Palag machine, that it actually says under the Palag machine, rare evo materials will appear, because that's actually the most useful thing. A lot of the rare evo materials are really hard to get on your own. Yeah. So
once you're in like the 200s, level 250, 280s, maybe you might be able to get it. But like in the early 100s, late 100s, it's kind of still hard.
Even at the beginning of the game, trying to get a Rainbow Keeper or something like that is really difficult, and to be able to roll that through the Palag machine is really helpful and it can help you to evolve one of your monsters that'll actually get you to be able to beat some of these things. So making sure that you're not just wasting your Palag points and rolling just whenever if there's no bonus at the Palag machine. Secondly, rolling at the wrong time can also apply to the rare egg machine.
This is the most important part.
Yeah, so you're really excited to roll the rare egg machine, but actually the truth of the matter is you want to really roll during Godfest or during some collab or festival that applies to a monster that you really want. Yeah. Specifically Godfest, because it has a greater increased chance of rolling of these rare and powerful monsters. If you just roll it on an average day, like say today, there's no thing there that says Godfest on my rare egg machine. If I just roll that, there's a chance that I just get anything. And a lot of the things there in the rare egg machine that you can get actually aren't that strong. So you really want to save up. And don't get too eager.
3 too, or something too.
And usually there's probably like almost 2 Godfests a month, so it's really not like you have to wait that long, and it's a good way to save up your gems.
Near the 15th and like the 30th.
Yeah, it's usually halfway through the month and then near the end. Yeah. All right.
Here's number 3.
Not checking your mail or not logging in to your account. So about checking mail, at first you probably don't even maybe notice it, and I definitely know that it was something that I didn't really understand at first. But you go into the thing here that says friend, and then you push the mail and friend invites, and this is where you get all your login bonuses. So every day that you log in, for the most part, almost every day, the Puzzle and Dragon creator send you out a message that usually gives you something. So it might be a rare or a Tamadra, a gem, some PowerPoints, things like that. And also you get your friend invites there, so people who want to add you as a friend will send you mail in there, and that's where you can redeem these things and accept your friends. So that's really important. You'll be like, oh, why do I have like all these numbers on my friend thing? And that's because you need to check your mail, and maybe you've got a bunch of gems in there.
That's what I had in the very beginning. I had like 15 gems stocked and I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, so pretty common there. And then just, even if you don't have time to play one day, just quickly logging in will trigger the mail. So you'll get that reward every day.
Number 4.
Incorrectly feeding monsters. And for this here, what we're referring to, it's actually a bit complicated. There's a lot of ways that you can mess up when you're feeding your monsters to each other to level them up and things like that. The first of which is when you're trying to skill up a monster, which you feed another monster with the same skill, and that'll make that skill activate quicker.
Even if it's not the same monster.
Yeah, you have to check that they have the same skill, and that's good for a lot of the really strong monsters. They usually have a weaker monster that actually has the same skill and that can increase the level of that skill to make it happen quicker. You want to make sure that the Power of Fusion button here says skill up chance ×2, as you can see, and it also usually will say great and super chance ×2. What they mean with the great and super chance ×2 is just that when you feed a monster, it has a greater chance of giving you more experience. When you get a great, it's 1.5 times the experience that you normally would have gotten, and the super, I think it's 2 times the experience you would have gotten. So especially if you're feeding really experience heavy monsters like the metal dragons and things like that, it would be sort of a waste to feed them when that's not there, because you could level up so much more if you just waited till the great and super chance. At least it had a greater chance of happening for you there. So you want to make sure. I just was feeding things, I didn't really know the difference, and I didn't really care to bother to be like, what does skill up chance ×2 really mean?
They didn't really have it that much either back in the days. Yeah,
it's pretty common now, but there's a couple days that kind of in between collabs and things like that they're adjusting things, and that's not on there. So you want to make sure to do that and check. For the other thing that sometimes happens is you fuse a monster and it's actually an enhanced material, and if that enhanced material would be something that you would use to evolve something, you just kind of just wasted that. Usually they don't give you that much experience. For example, in my monster box here, say I was to feed one of my monsters, the red dragon fruit, because I didn't really know what what it was. I was like, all right, I'll just feed it. This is actually a really rare monster that helps level up, and actually not level up, but evolve a lot of the monsters into their alt forms. So you definitely don't want to waste that there. And another thing to know is feeding monsters of the same color actually they give you more experience. So if you feed a fire monster another fire monster, you get more experience from doing that than if you say fed a fire monster or water or grass or whatever. So if you had the choice, feed a fire monster other fire monsters to make your monster level up quicker. Another thing that is pretty common, especially in the early game when you're trying to conserve box space, is you just feed one monster at a time, and actually that's extremely inefficient and it wastes a ton of your gold and your coins. You're really going to want to save those, so if you're going to do that, you might as well just sell the monster or increase your box space so that you can hold more and just feed 5 at once, because 5's the max. Feed 5 of the same colored monsters to it instead of feeding one at a time. And then lastly, you want to make sure to pay attention to the level limit that monster has. Especially in the early game, their max level is pretty low,
Yeah, like 15,
maybe 15, 25, something like that, and say you're at level 23, 24, and you feed it a ton of things, it's only going to level to 25 and it's going to stop. So any experience that was over what you would have needed basically goes to waste.
Yep.
And I did that a few times, so definitely kind of a bit of a waste of your money and your monsters to feed when you could just max it out, evolve it, and then feed those other extra monsters that you were going to.
And number 5.
All right, the last one, not knowing how to ult a monster. And this was really common for me because I knew that there were alts because I looked at the website and things like that, and I had a hard time trying to figure out how exactly do I do that.
Other people had alts on their friends.
Yeah, I saw these monsters and I was like, well, how did you get that? I can see that it's a better version of this monster that I have, but it's not populating on the evolve screen.
Yeah.
So for example, you want to check your monster box, and actually not your monster box here, but you would go to Evo Fusion, for example, and some of the monsters are lit up, because meaning they can evolve, but some are totally grayed out, and you're like, okay, well, is that the maximum monster?
Yeah.
Is that his final form? And actually, it's not. But the way to ult a monster, you actually have to look up what you have to feed it.
Yeah, you already have to know what
you have to know what it requires to be ulted, and then you actually have to do it in the power-up fusion. And if that's the case here, let me see if there's a monster that I can potentially do that for. I know that Athena has an ult.
Yeah, Athena doesn't have an ult. It's actually a really good one too.
You want to be able to add the materials here, and I'm actually not sure if I do have all of them actually. I know you need a green orb.
Yeah, you need a yellow orb too.
You need a yellow orb.
Do you have a yellow orb? Well, yeah,
I do. I think you need a yellow mask too, which I might not have. The rainbow mask, I think, is the one that you need there. So actually, I don't have all the materials that are required, but when you do have all the materials that are needed for the ult, the begin fusion button, instead of just flashing green and white, will actually flash kind of a green and yellow.
It's like a rainbow color kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll look different than the normal fuse. And when
you have a picture,
when you fuse that there, it'll say, do you want to ult this monster, or do you want to just feed it these things? I don't see any reason why you would just want to feed it those things. So you always want to push on the left side where it says alt, and that will ult the monster.
Yeah. So you would have to look it up first in the very beginning to know if you can even ult it or not.
So once they're the max evolved and not ulted, you can actually ult them at any level. If they're level 1 of their max form per evolutions that you've done in the Evo machine, or the Evo fusion, you can ult it at level 1, or you could ult it at level 99. It really doesn't matter. I would say probably try to ult it sooner rather than later, so that you get the experience, and that so you obviously it's more useful at an earlier time for you. But don't waste ulting everything if that monster's not going to be useful for you.
Yeah. Always think of your party and make your monsters.
Yeah, especially because you're going to be spending a lot of really useful materials to do that.
Yep.
So I hope all that made sense to you guys, and I hope that helps. We really appreciate you guys watching our video here.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.